I'm glad to be able to have this opportunity to update the members of all of us to what's been going on and what needs to go on in the coming months in order to continue a successful effort that we've had to stop the passage of S.386, the so-called fairness bill, but better called the destruction of the immigration program for employment-based, to stop that throughout this Congress. Now, I've been working on this issue since 2010 and before, because this is not a new issue. It's been the same approach to a problem that cannot be solved in the way that is proposed. The problem is that about twice as many people are approved for eligibility for green cards every year as there are visa numbers available. So that means we've got a backlog that keeps growing by about 140,000 individuals a year. And that is not sustainable. And we have 1 million such people waiting in a backlog now. And in 10 years, as the Congressional Research Service proved, that number will be over 2 million. And the bill is not about getting rid of the backlog. It's about reshuffling the backlog and saying that Indians and to some extent Chinese should not wait so long, and everybody else should wait a lot longer than they're waiting now. And you can understand why people of those nationalities think that's a good answer. But it's not a good answer because it's replacing one problem with another problem, and it isn't addressing the real problem, which is that we have a system that approves twice as many slots for a green card as we have visas. And as long as that's true, the system is going to break down, and the queues are going to get longer and longer, and the immigrants are going to suffer, members of all of us are going to suffer, but America is going to suffer because people who have talent and opportunity to go more places than here will go elsewhere rather than wait a decade or 2 decades for a green card. So this is a problem that was caused by a strategy of big tech to create a conveyor belt of employees from Bangalore in India. And, they ran that conveyor belt for about as long as and hard as they could. Maybe they're still running it, but the fact is that they've got a lot of disgruntled employees. And so they don't want to solve the problem, but they just want to move the problem from their employees to other employees and other people's employees and create a bigger mess than they've already created. We've been fighting that, and we've been fighting it successfully. I started in this latest round of work, MPAG, Paul Donnelly and myself. We started this on behalf of our client, AHA, American Hospital Association. And because of opposition from American Hospital Association in 2018, an attempt to sneak this legislation through as part of the appropriations process that year was stopped in the Senate. And at the end of 2018, we started having discussions with the founders of all of us about a grassroots effort to add to what the American Hospital Association could do with a broader, a more diverse set of interests. And that's what all of us is. And people who participate in all of us, who contribute to all of us, have made a dramatic difference. For 2 years, we have held back with a grassroots group, we have held back the largest corporations in the world. The big tech companies that are now being attacked on Capitol Hill because they're too big, because of the way in which they abuse people's privacy, because of the way in which they dominate markets and are unfair to other companies. People are starting to find out these great big companies are not necessarily your friend, even though they may have very good technology. But they also are abusive of their workforce, and they're abusive of other people who are immigrants. And we have seen that up close. But we have been successful. And the reason we've been successful is because of the participation of people in all of us, both in the leadership, which has worked on targeting grassroots input to Congress, but also because people have contributed and allowed all of us to compensate Morrison Public Affairs Group to work on this problem day in and day out for the last 18 months. When we started working for all of us, people were very discouraged. They thought this bill, this was in middle of 2019, they thought that the bill was going to pass at any moment.